Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to another YouTube video. My name is Ketan. I call myself that day-to-day guy. And reason behind that is because I'm just a normal middle-aged guy. I'm 48 now. Yesterday was my birthday, approaching 50. But just talking about normal life stuff and sharing some of my experiences here on YouTube. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been here before, thank you for supporting the channel. And every time I say that, every time I always say so cringe because I'm not really a YouTuber as such. Like I said, just a normal guy. And today's video is called, Are You Being Too Hard on Yourself? And this is something I was thinking about last week because I am often too hard on myself. And one of the things about life that I've, more recently, in recent years, learned is that we all have the same traits, right? We all behave in the same way in different parts of our life. And comparison, they say, is a thief of joy. And we'll always compare ourselves to either the standard that we set ourselves or some of our dreams we've had when we were younger. And who of us haven't dreamed about a certain way of life or lifestyle or whatever? Or we'll compare ourselves to other people in our life. And if anyone's kind of followed my journey or heard some of the stories that I've shared, I often talk about not being where I would have liked to have been. And I'm surrounded by people who, I say surrounded by, I have a good balance of people who are doing better than me, and I have a good balance of people that, are maybe a few rungs down the ladder from me. And no criticism on either side of that. But the ones who are above me, not forever, I'm more aware of this now, but sometimes I beat myself up over, I should be here, I should be there. And I find any time I've actually have progressed forward, let's call it forward, any time I have progressed forward has been when I haven't been comparing myself and I've been kind of chilled. When you're always comparing yourself and you're operating from a position of stress and anxiety and failure, if you will, I personally find it very hard to get to grips and get to action to move forward. So it's good to acknowledge sometimes when maybe you're not where you quite plan to be, but I'm 48 now. I was 48 on Sunday. Hold on a second. That was yesterday. I was 48 yesterday, and even when it comes to things like, I'll use my weight as an example. I lost I was 93 kilograms a number of years ago, and now I'm around about 72, maybe 73 in the last few weeks with birthday and Diwali. But nevertheless, that's 20 kilograms, roughly 3 stone down from what I was before. So I was at a point where I was about 45 years old, and I thought to myself, well, I'm not going to get better now. This is just the way it is going to be, and it is what it is. This is middle-aged man syndrome. But I look around and think to myself, man, there's people who are older than me who are in shape, who when they wear a certain suit or when they buy a 38 jacket, they buy 32 trousers, or when they buy a 40 jacket, they buy 34 trousers, not 36. And I kind of become resigned to the fact that that's never going to happen for me until it got to a point where I thought to myself, that's bullshit. I've been feeding myself. And now I can kind of think about that with my finances. Like a few years ago, I used to think to myself, I'm kind of all right where I am. Bought my house, and now I've got a mortgage. And I think to myself, maybe retirement is not as close as I thought it was when I was living at my flat. And I thought to myself, it's cool. If things go tits up, then I can always sell my house and move back into my flat. And this all sounds very first worldy, but to me, this is a real, not problem, but challenge, if you will. And everyone's on a different scale. For some people, it might be, I'm 40 years old and I'm not even on the property ladder yet, or, whatever the case may be. And this video isn't the whole point of this video is to share with you, regardless of where you are on the scale, the only person you're competing with is yourself. And in order to get into the best mindset for moving forward, you have to be at peace with where you're at. Acknowledge that you are where you're at because of the decisions that you made. There's always external factors, don't get me wrong, but I always think to myself, well, in all these factors, everybody else had these factors. Everyone on the planet has got some sort of challenges, We have the same weather. Everyone in the country has the same weather today. It's not like the weather outside my house is different to the weather outside anyone else's house. Everyone in the UK at the current moment is in the same economy. So you can either become victim to your circumstances, or you kind of, grab the bull by the horns, so to speak, and say to yourself, okay, what could I do in this scenario? And you can only do stuff if you're operating from a good headspace. So the first thing to do is, if you're around people who are doing better than you, that's great, because you've got some, and you've got some, a good kind of reference point for inspiration. And the people around you, if they're doing better than you, they should be encouraging you and giving you advice and having frank conversations with you. That's what my friends who are doing better than me do. We have conversations, all right, okay, I need to do this. They're not competing with me. And the older you get in life, you'll realize that your true friends are never competing. If they're talking to you about something, they're not criticizing. They're talking to you because they care about you and they want you to move forward. Like, I want all my friends to be doing well so we can grow together and we can do things together. And I'm not just talking about financially, I'm talking about health and everything. This is not just, it just so happens that we in the West, put a big definition, put a big emphasis on financial success. And for me, financial success is just peace of mind. So it's not about, having millions and millions of pounds and driving, a shit ton of cars and so on and so forth. It's more about, peace of mind. Can I wake up in the morning and not have to worry about money? And that's the level that I aspire to. I unfortunately still am in a position where I still do have to think about money. We all are. But the whole point, I kind of digress massively in this video, and I feel like everything I've said is it all comes back to this one point about not being too hard on yourself and not beating yourself up, but also taking responsibility for your part in where you are now. So acknowledge where you are, acknowledge you've made decisions, but also understand that you've got a hell of a long life to go still. And I'm assuming people are watching this video are roughly my age or a bit younger than me. And I had to think to myself, when you're mid-40s, let's say you live till about, my dad's 71, right? 72 actually now. No, 71, sorry. He will be 72. Anyway, I think to myself, even if I live to my dad's age, my dad's relatively healthy, so let's say I went to 75, I've still got another 30 years to go. 30 years takes me back from now, back 30 years, it takes me back to when I was 15 years old. I think to myself, man, what I've done between 15 and 45, or 48 now, is a hell of a lot. So I've still got that much still to go. With the knowledge that I have, like the knowledge that I didn't have, then it was all ego and no knowledge, and now it's more knowledge and less ego. Ego's still there, but hey, nothing ever goes away completely. But now I know the next 30 years, I can either mope about where the decisions I made for the last 30 years and be in this rut and be bitter about life, or I can, like I said before, grab the bull by the horns and say to myself, all right, great, what's done is done. What can I do now? Put an action plan in place and start to slowly get better. And you give yourself a pat on the back. Like every time one little good thing happens, it's progress. And progress progress isn't like that. Or if you look at the camera, progress isn't like that. It's like that. It's ups and downs, up and downs, and hopefully you're generally on an upward trend. So yeah, whatever you take away from this video, main thing is don't beat yourself up too much. Everyone does it. So even the people who are above you, because if you said to me 3, 4, 5 years ago, you're going to be in this position, I'd have been like, oh my God, it'd be amazing. Living life like this would be phenomenal. And then you get there and then you're like, oh, wow, that person's got this. And it's not because I'm not happy and content with what I've got. I am more now chasing, the ultimate freedom of not having any major liabilities, i.e. mortgage. I'm quite open with my kind of, I'm not going to spill my guts out and talk about my financial situation, but I'm still, you know, I still live a relatively normal life, but I'm not about financing loads of luxuries to look like I'm rich when I'm really not. I'm more about kind of, for me, freedom is living within your means and being able to do the things that you want to do, because everyone's different. Some people want to, you know, go on holidays on private jets and go on boats and stuff like that. For me, I'm kind of like, meh, whatever. Like if that doesn't happen, I'm not really bothered. What I do want to do is be able to sit at home, watch telly without worrying about, oh shit, do I have to go to work, blah, blah, blah. Or tinker with cars and so on and so forth. But anyway, I think I'm done. I think I made my point. Well, another thing I will also say is, like, let me know what you think, but a lot of YouTube things are just kind of short, concise, and to the point. But sometimes I think to myself, I like to have a conversation with people, and this is my way of conversing with somebody. So when you have a conversation with somebody, you're going to, you know, conversations do this, don't they? They don't just go like that. So I guess this is my kind of, it's a one-way conversation, but this is just my style of communicating, and it's very meandering. So we, you know, eventually get to the point, but we take the scenic route, if you will. Some might argue it's not the scenic route, just shut the fuck up and get to the point. But hey, I just said the F word there. I want to leave it in there. So worried about YouTube censorship and so on and so forth. But yeah, if you're watching this and you're, you know, middle-aged man like me, or any kind of any kind of point in your life where you've lived a little, maybe in your 30s or early 40s, man or woman, just go easy on yourself. The easier you are on yourself, acknowledge you've messed up if you think you've messed up, and then just put it aside and go forward. And as always, you know, feel free to comment, reach out to me. I'm no expert. Sometimes I'll have conversations with people about something, and they'll say something, and then I'll learn from it. And I think that's a great way to go through life. You'll learn from people who maybe less experienced than you, but they say one thing, and it's like, wow, I never thought of it that way. So yeah, I think that's it, folks. Thank you for watching. If you like my style of communication, if you like the general message I'm trying to put out there, feel free to like and subscribe. Yeah, I always still feel so cringy, and obviously I know you've got to just say, you know, you're on YouTube, you've got to kind of say this stuff, but like and subscribe. And if you've got this far and you've, you know, watched the whole video, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week. Ciao for now.